Hello and welcome to the brand board instructional video. My name is Alexandra and I work with Spark to help, with all things graphic design and branding and other things. So we developed this brand board for new businesses who are still kind of in the development stage, trying to narrow down their branding um, and who want to give it a try. So we're going to start with the main logo. If you don't have a logo already, I would look for inspiration on Pinterest for industry specific logos. So if you're, say, an architect, you may want to look at other architect logos so that you can kind of get an idea as to what kind of fits your industry. You probably will not want like a super flowery, watercolor type of logo if you're an architect. So it is helpful to look at other people's logos so that you can, in your industry, so that you can kind of get an idea as to what how to actually create your own in a industry specific way. So I generally love to use Creative Market to find different elements, but Canva actually does have, quite a good array of elements here. Um, you can search up different shapes, and you can use, like, if you're a blogger, say, you could put in, just say your name is um, Stephanie Morris. I don't know why I thought of that name, but I did. And you want some kind of a handwriting font. So you could, oh, it's kind of fun. So you could bring it up there, and then you could put, lifestyle blogger or whatever underneath it in a different, maybe like Phantom Sands or Poppins. Make it a bit smaller. You might want to have it there. Lifestyle. It's not letting me type. So you can kind of play around with it, and you could bring in like some imagery or like maybe a watercolor or something like that. For now, we're going to just kind of stick with Spark because I already have a lot of their elements in here. There we go. So Spark's main logo is this, and the main logo is something that you would use on the front of a flyer or maybe at the front of your website. And in order to not get too repetitive by having this at like the bottom of your website or the back of your flyer or something like that, you bring in an alternative logo. We developed this one a couple of years ago. So that would be an alternative logo. And then a submark logo might be something that you may add in other elements, maybe on a different part of your website, or maybe it's just to not be too repetitive and to kind of fill out the brand a little bit more. It's like the different sides of yourself too, like as a person. You're not always wearing the same thing, and you're not always, you don't always look the same. Like, it depends on where you go and like what you're doing. You change a little bit so that you can fit that role. And so that's kind of what you're doing with your logo as well. You're kind of just like adjusting it for the different places that people will see it. So moving on, we have different colors. You may have 3 colors, you may have 8 colors. It really depends on your brand, but generally I strive to not have more than 6, because then it starts to get a little, um, convoluted. Like, you kind of do want to stick to some very specific colors that are identifiable as you. It's like McDonald's has two colors, I think. I think it's red and yellow. If you think about any of the big brands like Target, it's red and white. That's it. So you kind of want to stick to maybe two main colors that you use, and then have some supporting colors. So with Spark, we do have, these are the three main colors. We have red, purple, and teal. And so if Casey wanted to make something and she just told somebody, oh, yeah, we use red, there are an infinite amount of reds that you could use. There could be like an orangish red, a pinkish, a lighter red that looks pinkish. We want to make sure that we're always getting this exact red in everything that we do. So the way that we do that is we find the hex code. We come up to the little X or cross up here, and that's that exact color red is ED2024. So we would put that in over here, so that anytime anybody was using the brand colors for social media or a flyer or a business card or anything at all, they're going to use that exact red. Same thing goes for, the teal or the purple, the teal. We have gray. Well, let's do white, and then gray, and then black. This is for a course, this green, so we don't actually use it in most of the branding. It's just for the Profit First Lab. So moving on, generally a brand will have two fonts, maybe three or four. And so we're going to highlight all of that. And Spark likes to use Poppins for their headers. So we use Poppins Medium most of the time. And then we use Poppins Light over here. So to make sure that everybody knows what you're using, we put Poppins Medium and then Poppins Light over here. If you wanted to use a script font, or I'm sorry, not a script font, a serif font, I particularly, to go with Poppins, I do like this font. Casey's not a big fan of the serif fonts, so there we go. That looks nice. So we'd use Cormorant, Garamond, Medium. There we go. So now anytime anybody wanted to create anything for Spark, they would know to use these. With textures, you can actually go ahead and drag the textures into these boxes. So I really like Subway Tile with Spark's look and feel. Like if you see their offices, it's very much like white, red, like white tables, white chairs, but then there's like the brightness of the red, and then there's purple and teal. There's a huge teal wall in there. It's really nice. So something that would go with their vibe, rather than like any wood or something like that, maybe something like this Subway Tile. And then just like kind of depending, maybe like red leather or black leather might be another texture that we might want to use. So you just drag that in, and you can search up anything here. So I could search up light wood, maybe like a really light wood might look good with that, maybe not. So you can kind of explore and just give it a try and see if they work together. And the way that you would use these textures would be maybe on social media, like in the background of things, or maybe on the background of a website, or on the background of some flyers, things like that. And you can actually find more If you can't find them in Canva, you can find them in creativemarket.com, one of my favorite sites for sourcing various things like fonts, textures, templates for things, and so on. And then with inspiration, last bit here, we would Spark actually has a lot of great brand photography, so we would actually probably just bring in some of that imagery because it is really light and bright, really good photos. And the inspiration for Spark comes from their passion for what they do. So a lot of what Casey really wanted to convey is that they do love what they do. They have a lot of passion for being the business behind other people's business and putting the spark in people's business. Like, they really love that, and they wanted to convey the joy and sort of that excitement, and the fact that they are a really happy company. Like, they're just really happy and they laugh a lot, and they just like to have fun, and they like to be inspiring to each other and other businesses that they work with. And, that's what they want to convey. So we would bring in a lot of sort of like happy photos, and maybe photos of them in their, office, in their meeting office, at the whiteboard, like working things out, um, things like that. And you can bring in whatever you like for inspiration. Like, if you don't have a team, and if you're just you're just starting up, and maybe you're, I don't know, like a hairdresser, you may want to bring in um, photos of people with beautiful hair, hair inspiration, maybe like hair ties, or hair accessories, and maybe like certain people who you really admire, different patterns, different textures, things like that. Whatever kind of will convey the feeling and sort of inspire you in the creation of your materials. So that's what inspiration um, would be made up of. So I hope this really helps you. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. Um, uh, I have an email, hello@sparkbusinessconsulting.com, or Casey, and her email is casey@sparkbusinessconsulting.com. And we hope you really enjoyed this, and we hope this is helpful for you. It's really exciting to develop a brand. It's one of my favorite things to do of all time, because it really, you start from nothing and you create a whole identity. And so if you need any help at all, please reach out, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck.